各位媒体朋友。
Friends of the media, good afternoon. Welcome to the press conference of the Joint Prevention Control Mechanism of the State Council. The topic for today's press conference is to bring into play the role of the banking and the taxation authorities and the sectors and help the SMEs to recover business. So we have with us Deputy Director General Han Guorong from the State Administration of Taxation and Director General Li Junfeng from CBIRC. So they will take questions about financing for the SMEs and also the credits for the micro and the small businesses. Let me first give you the update of the pandemic. Yesterday, between 0 and 24 o'clock, China's mainland reported that for newly increased confirmed cases, 30, including 23 overseas imported cases, respectively, 21 in Shanxi, 1 in Heilongjiang, and 1 in Shanghai. 7 are indigenous cases, all in Heilongjiang, and there's no new fatal case. For increased suspected cases, the number is 3. All of them are overseas imported. Yesterday, 28 cases are cured and discharged from hospitals. Close contacts removed from medical observation numbers 784, and the number of severe cases dropped by 4. For overseas importation, the remaining confirmed cases numbers 811, including 41 severe cases. The remaining suspected cases number 30. In total, the number of confirmed cases is 1,610, and 799 cases are cured and discharged from hospitals. There's no fatal case. By the end of yesterday, China's mainland reported that for remaining confirmed cases, the number is 1,005, including 78 severe cases. In total, the number of cases cured and discharged from hospitals is 77,151. Total deaths, 4,632. Total confirmed cases reported, 82,788. And remaining suspected cases, 35. In total, the number of close contacts traced is 727,589. Close contacts still under medical observation numbers 8,796. Yesterday in Hubei, there's no new confirmed case, no suspect case, nor remaining suspect case, nor death case. 5 cases are cured and discharged from hospitals, and the remaining confirmed cases number 97, including all of them in Wuhan, including 15 severe cases, all of them in Wuhan too. In total, 63,519 cases are cured and discharged from hospitals, and the number in Wuhan is 46,367. In total, the death cases number 4,512, including 3,869 in Wuhan. Total confirmed cases number 68,128, including 50,333. China's mainland reported that for newly increased asymptomatic infection, the number is 42, including 7 overseas imported. Yesterday, there's 1 case transferred to confirmed case, and 42 cases removed from medical observation, including 15 overseas imported. Asymptomatic infections still under medical observation number 991, including 172 overseas imported. In total, from Hong Kong, Macau, and the Taiwan region, the confirmed cases reported numbered 1,499, including 1,029 from Hong Kong SAR, 45 from Macau SAR, and 425 from the Taiwan region. Yesterday, on April the 21st, in Wuhan, the remaining confirmed cases dropped to, for the first time, to less than 100, and for 7 days in a row, there's no new fatal case. The overseas importation increased by 23 cases, mainly from the neighboring countries to China. So it's necessary to take prevention measures and guard against the overseas importation, which may cause the resurgence of indigenous outbreaks. That's the update for the pandemic. Now we will have the Q&A. Please focus on today's topic and put forward your questions. Please first identify yourself. Now the floor is open. First question. On the right, on the front row, the second lady reporter, please. Thank you. With CCTV financial channel, Premier Li Keqiang specifies that to help the SMEs better, the financial sector should contribute. However, many micro and small businesses are not aware of the synergy between taxation and banking sector, and what are the application requirements and what are the measures to realize such a synergy. We will have DG Han to take the question. Okay, the interaction or the synergy between the banking sector and the taxation sector is a policy innovated in 2015. It's an innovative financing approach for micro and small businesses. Specifically, the taxation authorities will share the credit information to the banking sector following the regulations, and with eligibility, the businesses will submit the relevant information to the financial institutions. Then the financial institutions will provide the credits for taxation, for preferential taxation treatment. As for the specific application, businesses can use the online platforms to get access to the appropriate taxation preferences, and in some localities, businesses can also apply to the local taxation authorities. Specifically, businesses may contact the local banks or the taxation authorities to get detailed information. It is fair to say that this policy approach has transferred the business credit into the financing credibility, and this has addressed the asymmetry between the financial sector and the taxation authorities. So for micro and small businesses with limited assets, this can facilitate their financing. This has truly promoted the financing capability. Over the past 4 years, we can see that the lendings to the SMEs has greatly increased, and this year, by the end of yesterday, we can see that the total has exceeded that of the 2019, the year as a whole. For example, with sound credibility, within 2 days, a new banking client account can be quickly established, and this particular business is able to get access to 5 million RMB yuan as the business finance. For the next step, the authorities related will promote the knowledge about this policy so that more enterprises, especially the micro and the small ones, can get access to credit and recover their business operation. Okay, on the left, on the 5th row, the reporter in white, please. Thank you. With China News Service. Recently, the country has worked out many taxation favorable policies in taxation to support the SMEs. Could you please elaborate on these policies? We will continue to have DG Han to take the question. Thank you for your question.
Since the outbreak of COVID-19, the national government has adopted 23 favorable taxation policies in 5 categories, focusing on the prevention and control and supportive treatment, relief of the burden of businesses, helping micro businesses and self-employed businesses to go through the difficulties, and stabilize foreign investment and foreign trade. To ensure that these favorable tax policies can be implemented timely, the Taxation Authority has adopted a combination of measures by working out the guidelines notes and give wide enough dissemination to the information. We have been clarifying the favorable policies in categories and the tax collection policies. For the businesses, the favorable policies and the operational procedures, we have given very detailed introduction to better inform the taxpayers. The Taxation Authority targeting at the VAT, social insurance contribution, and the specific measures regarding the small businesses. We used our hotline services and also online communications. For the questions that are very much concerned by the taxpayers, we have been providing answers online. We have also clarified the policies and the questions into different specific categories. Our website 12306 hotline and some of the online portals have been the places where we have been providing the information and providing answers to questions. We've also been collecting the needs from the taxpayers. The taxpayers were questioned and surveyed online to learn about their business needs. We've also set up a faster respond system to respond to the needs of the small and micro businesses. Since the beginning of the year, 60,000 plus opinions from the taxpayers have been collected through these channels, and we've provided feedback and answers and made improvement accordingly. On our hotline 12306, we've set up a special line to take the calls from SMEs. We've also put up a special thematic column of the favorable policies targeted at SMEs on our website, integrating the favorable policies, the tax collection services, and management measures. Apart from that, in the screens set up in the tax payment bureaus and offices, we have also been disseminating the information and favorable policies on-site, face-to-face, so that the taxpayers can have access to these favorable policies, so they know how to ensure that their entitled favorable policies can cover them. Next question, please. Thank you. With the CCTV, we've noticed that Taxation Administration and the CBIRC have issued a notice of special help provided to the SMEs, and also in Hubei province, the credit C-rated companies can also get such favorable policies. So how many businesses are actually covered by this round of favorable policies? DDG Han Guorong is taking the question. Thank you for your question. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, Taxation Administration, in accordance with the central government arrangements, has been focusing on the implementation of favorable policies. The contactless tax payment and collection should also be a channel where we disseminate the information. And we have 4 specific requirements to ensure the favorable taxation policies can be implemented and businesses can be helped to resume their businesses and serve the stability of the entire society. In the interaction and synergy between taxation and banking policies, we've been focusing on 2 aspects. First, we've stepped up the existing favorable policies. For the 7th consecutive year, we've been engaged in the convenience tax payment program. The businesses that are covered by the favorable policies have been expanded from the credit A, B ratings to the businesses under credit C ratings. We've maximized the help provided to businesses. Statistics showed in the first quarter of the year, the SMEs that are covered by the policy got a total loan of 1.8 billion RMB, a YY increase of 36.3%. On the other hand, we've been innovating the supportive policies. The Taxation Administration collaborated with the CBIRC, and we looked at the wholesaling, hospitality, logistic, recreational, cultural tourism, and SMEs in these hard-hit industries. We looked at their financing needs. We innovated credit products, provided the information to these businesses from 4 aspects. We've launched more targeted measures. The tax payment credit is categorized into A, B, M, C, D, altogether 5 categories of credit rating. And in the past, only AB rated businesses can enjoy the interactive synergy favorable policies. After it has been expanded to the M credit rating, then the businesses that can benefit from the policy, the number has been increased by 2 times. And in Hubei province, the companies under Category C can also access such favorable loans. So 50,000 plus SMEs in Hubei province are eligible businesses. The Taxation Administration has provided a list of 600 SMEs to the banking sector in Hubei province so that they know whom to provide loans. Journalist from the first row on the left side, please. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. With the China Media Group impacted by the COVID-19, many SMEs have complained about the difficulty in accessing financing and loans. The total loan, what has been the total loan size covered by the interactive taxation and banking favorable policies? I'd like to ask Director Li Junfeng from CBIRC to take the question. This interactive policy helps banks to grant loans to businesses. As introduced by DDG Han from the Taxation Administration, we believe the policy has 3 advantages. First, it can precisely answer the needs of taxpayers or businesses. That the businesses that are covered by these businesses, once they have financing needs, banks need to provide loans to such business. And also, we have been providing the business with the credit loans, which means that only credit rating is needed, no collateral, no guarantee is needed for the granting of the loans. Third advantage is its convenience and the flexibility. Because of the online data sharing, the businesses can apply for loans online. Once they are proven eligible, within a short span of several minutes, they can be granted the loan. In response to the COVID-19 and to ensure the convenience of a loan application, we've enhanced the policy implementation. As DDG Han has mentioned, we've expanded the coverage of the favorable policy, and we can keenly feel the tangible results from the application of the policy. Up till now, this policy has issued 570 billion plus RMB of loan in total, YOY increase of 74%. This loan went to 700,000 businesses, a YOY increase of 114%.
That is to say, from the outbreak of the COVID-19, that is in particular in February and March, with the policy tool, we can see the rapid increase in terms of the lending volume and the number of businesses receiving the lending. And we can see that the number of businesses increased by 120,000. It's fair to say that this particular policy tool has helped to ease the difficulties for micro and small businesses to get access to lendings. Okay, let's continue. On the right, on the second row, the first lady reporter, please. Thank you. With CCTV, recently, both of the ministries have instructed that banks should provide financial products which are appropriate for the micro and the small businesses. However, these businesses complain that they still need to provide the collaterals in order to get credits. So what are the facilitating measures adopted by the two agencies? We'll continue to have DG Li to take the question. Indeed, this is a typical question. For micro and small businesses, they have difficulties getting access to credits because they are of a smaller scale and they don't have the risk-sharing mechanism. But for banks always expect collaterals to guard against the risks. Yet the micro and small businesses have limited assets and they don't have the collaterals. So we have come up with two-sided or two approaches to address this problem. On the one hand, we try to improve the micro and small businesses' capacity to deal with the risks. That is to reduce the dependence on collaterals. On the other hand, just as we have said, we want to address the information asymmetry problem. So for banks, they are expected to develop or come up with products which are capable or which are more appropriate for the micro and the small businesses. Now we have big data and we can use such risk control approaches to develop financial products which have the risks well under control. So on the one hand, we urge the banks to come up with innovative banking products, and on the other hand, we are strengthening guidance to facilitate access to credits. Recently, we have publicized a draft to solicit opinions, public opinions. This policy is designed to facilitate access to credits and lending. Now we find that the majority of the micro and small businesses can only borrow from banks with certain collaterals, but we are coming up with new incentives to encourage the banks to provide loans to the micro and small businesses. Okay, let's continue. On the right, on the front row, the first gentleman reporter, please. Thank you. I'm with the Financial Monthly. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, 23 policies were worked out in 5 batches. I would like to know the international response to such new policies. We will have DG Han to take the question. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, in order to help the enterprises to deal with the pandemic and recover their businesses, the Chinese government worked out 23 policies in 5 batches or 5 groups. In order to implement these policies, the taxation authorities have adopted various measures to implement these policies. I've mentioned the 4 policy aspects previously. In short, on the one hand, we wish to promulgate these policies so that eligible businesses will be aware of such favorable policies. And secondly, we will provide supporting services. The taxation authorities have the daily communication with the taxpayers, and we have the information about each taxpayer. So by targeting the specific businesses, we can help them to get access to such favorable policies. And thirdly, we have adopted a case-by-case approach to facilitate the businesses' access. I think it's fair to say that throughout the taxation levels, these policies have been widely known and have been well received. Okay, let's continue. On the right, on the third row, the second lady reporter. With the Hong Kong China review, some companies say that due to the COVID-19, they have not received any revenue and they are unable to pay the taxes. So will this affect their taxation credibility? We will have DG Han to answer the question. Yes, indeed. The pandemic comes abruptly and disrupting the normal businesses or operation of the companies. In order to help the companies to overcome the difficulties for 4 times in a row, the taxation authorities have extended the tax declaration period, and we also allow the taxpayers to postpone their tax payment. According to statistics, starting from February, throughout the country, we have provided 51,000 taxpayers for such extension. For questions which are related to the overdue taxation and whether such a delayed payment will affect their tax credits, the taxation authorities have already made it clear that for taxpayers who are affected by the COVID-19 and postpone the taxation payment, such postpone will not be integrated into the taxation system, and that means they are still eligible to enjoy the policy tool, the synergy between taxation and the banking sector. I would like to point out that following the current arrangement, the post-January taxation payment record will only affect the taxation credibility in the next year, because we have this 1-year cycle. That means for this year's delayed taxation payment, it will not affect your 2020 taxation credibility. And also, after the outbreak is over, the taxation authorities will take initiative and request the taxpayers to check their taxation status and make appropriate adjustment.
Before the new assessment results, before 2021, if the taxpayers failed to make an adjustment timely, by the end of next year, they can ask for reassessment with the taxation authority so as to erase the bad impact on their tax payment credit because of the COVID-19. Journalist from the fifth row on the right side, please. Thank you. With CNR, SMEs, information can be used in not only tax payment but also in various other sectors. What are the measures adopted by CBIRC in the utilization of shared information? I'd like to ask Director Li Junfeng to take the question. That is a great question. We know that SMEs, self-employed businesses, have difficulty in accessing loans, and the main reason is the lack of information and the lack of a credit record. In other words, banks do not have information about the credit history of the SMEs. Meanwhile, SMEs do not have collaterals or guarantees. Therefore, to promote the solution of financing difficulty by SMEs is in the solution of information asymmetry. Over the years, CBIRC has made relentless efforts to provide information from two perspectives. First, from the lens of the central government, we have been breaking the information silos of SMEs. Over the years, we've been collaborating with the taxation administration and adopted the interactive policy between taxation and banking authorities. In other words, we use the tax payment information as the basis for the granting of loans. We've also been providing the policies based on collaboration with market regulation and supervision departments. In other words, we look at the information registered with the market regulatory and supervision authorities to make assessment over the status and the conditions of the SMEs. We've also been leveraging the data from NDRC and launched a new generation of loan products. Therefore, data can be the basis for granting loans. We're also collaborating with Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs, the General Administration of Customs, and collecting information from the agriculture sector and customs, so that by integrating this information, the banks can have a more convenient and easier access to the information of businesses. Second, most of the information of SMEs can be collected at the local level. Therefore, over the years, we've been promoting local governments to set up the financial data service system for SMEs at the county level. For example, the Nankou County in Henan Province, some of the county government has taken the lead in integrating information related to SMEs. Prefectures, for example, Paidu in Zhejiang Province, Sudong in Jiangsu Province, Jiaozuo in Henan provinces, have been the prefecture government or municipal governments who have been taking the lead in fostering digital platform integrating information related to SMEs. After this round of reform, many localities have set up such big data halls at the provincial level the digital service platform for SMEs have been set up in Zhejiang, Guangdong, Jiangsu, Henan provinces. In most of these provinces, the provincial digital service system targeting the SMEs are taking shape. So we have the vertical and horizontal efforts to break the information silos so that more information will be provided to the banks, which is to grant loans to SMEs. Journalist from the fourth row on the left side, please. Thank you. With the Hong Kong Economic Herald, businesses are orderly resuming business. Some businesses are faced with the difficulties in connecting the upper and the lower streams of the supply chain. What are the support these businesses can seek? I'd like to ask DDG Han to take the question. Thank you for your question. As you have rightly pointed out, in localities and across different sectors, businesses are orderly resuming their operations. However, impacted by the COVID-19, the different places have been moving at different paces, promoting the synergy in the upper and lower streams and breaking the bottlenecks are of essential significance. That's why Taxation Administration has issued the notice requiring taxation authorities at all levels to use the big data at the taxation authority so as to help the businesses to resume operation. Our approach is that upon the basis of protecting commercial privacy and the secrecy of the businesses and the prerequisite of abiding by the market rules, we should learn about the needs of the businesses in the acquisition and procurement of raw materials. We've been relying on the taxation platforms at localities and leveraging the big data to make analysis from supply and demand perspectives so as to precisely match the need and demand and supply side along the supply chain. With the consent of the supply party or demand party, we make some consent-based matchmaking. As of April the 20th, taxation authorities across the country has provided 99,000 suppliers to 4,980 businesses who are in need of raw materials. 1,400 business agreements were signed with a total value of 2.59 billion RMB. Take an aquatic export firm in Zhejiang province, for example, impacted by the international COVID-19 spreading. The international orders have been hit, so they are urgently looking for domestic purchasers. After the knowledge of the information, the taxation authority has been using the Zhejiang provincial big data platform, and we began the screening of the lower stream buyers. The originally intended sales to the international market were sold to domestic buyers, so we help them to solve the urgent needs. Currently, taxation authorities across the country is engaged in a campaign that when one party has difficulties, many of others will come in handy help. The taxation big data has been leveraged to help the Hubei businesses to resume their operations. Taxation authorities across the country have been leveraging big data to do the matchmaking. And we have the one-on-one assistance to help the Hubei businesses to deal with their cash crunch and accelerate their business resumption. Currently, such efforts have yielded great results. What needs to be emphasized in particular is that the taxation administration has been using taxation big data to precisely help the businesses, but this is based on the prerequisite of the pre-consent of the taxpayers, and we have been following the law and protect the commercial and business secrecy of the business, and there won't be the leakage or abuses of the information, because all this information are important parts of their business secrecy. All the authorities have been strictly following the laws to protect their business secrecy and personal privacy, and all these has been based on the principle of voluntary.
发挥好税收大数据的优势，不断的优化拓展服务，尽力帮助企业来解决他们的实际困难，为统筹推进疫情防控和助力企业的复工复产贡献税务力量。谢谢。
好，谢谢，请继续提问。好，请右侧区第4排靠过道第1位男记者。
谢谢主持人。每日经济新闻记者提问。两部门发文提出要加大对此前在银行无贷款记录的首贷户的一个信贷支持。有企业反映有贷款需求，但是达不到银行的授信门槛。我们请问银保监会具体将如何引导银行加大对这类企业的一个信贷支持？谢谢。
好，我们请李军峰先生来回答这个问题。
这个确实目前呢，我们银保监会也好，各地政府也好，对首贷户这个问题还是比较关注的。我们所谓的首贷户呢，就是在银行，当然他可能有，是吧，在其他部门，但是在商业银行没有获得过贷款的这些企业和个体工商户。现在我们大概市场主体小微企业是3000多万户，个体工商户是8000多万户，加起来是1亿多市场主体。目前在我们商业银行有贷款的、有贷款余额的小微企业和个体工商户，大约是22000多万户，占小微企业和个体工商户的20%左右，就是我们的贷款户数、贷款余额的覆盖率是20%左右。企业和个体工商户不太一样，这个覆盖率我们认为还是比较高的，是吧？因为有的企业它并不需要贷款，但是有些企业需要贷款，它并不一定符合。
For some businesses, they don't need to get access to the lendings. So we believe that there are still some businesses who wish to get lendings, yet they have not been identified by the banks yet. So with the interaction between the banking sector and the taxation authorities, we wish to identify these micro and small businesses and help them to get access to credits, so that if they want to borrow from the banks, they will be able to do so. That's why we come up with some policy measures. The first is to strengthen the guidance for commercial banks. Their performance indicators this year, for the first time, include one indicator which is about these first-time applicant. And second, we request the commercial banks to develop credit products which are appropriate for these micro and small businesses. Just as I have mentioned, these businesses do not have anything to guarantee for their borrowings. So we need to develop innovative credit products for them. Thirdly, starting from the latter half of last year, we advocated the banks to provide financial services to these businesses. That is to suggest or to request the banks to approach these micro and small businesses and get to know their financial needs. We found this approach very effective because by doing so, the banks can get into contact with the micro and the small businesses. And also, when conditions available, the banks can provide lendings or more lendings to these businesses. So with this initiative this year, another 22,000 businesses get the support from the banks in this regard. The fourth approach or the fourth effort is that we request the commercial banks to strengthen cooperation. Just as I have mentioned, the businesses or the number of micro and small businesses is quite large. So the banks can have their niche markets, but they should also strengthen cooperation. Each bank has its own strengths and weaknesses, so we encourage to have competition while also having the collaboration to address the financial needs of the micro and small businesses. Due to the time constraint, we can only allow 2 more questions. On the right, on the third row, the lady reporter, please. Thank you. With the Xinmin Evening News, some businesses mentioned that during the outbreak there are preferential policies. However, still they find it difficult to get access to borrowings or lendings. So to help those individual businesses, what are the favorable policies for them? We will continue to have DG Li to take the question. Recently, we have expanded the coverage of this policy tool to the individual businesses. At the moment, not many individual businesses have benefited from this policy tool. We found that only 59.3 million individual businesses have been benefiting from this policy tool. So going forward, we will expand the coverage, and all the individual businesses which are covered by the taxation, business taxation system will be also covered by this policy tool. For the individual businesses financing policies, let me take a few minutes to elaborate on them. We have applied the inclusive financial policy to cover these businesses. First, we wish to increase the total scale. We request the commercial banks to provide more lendings to these businesses and accelerate such coverage. And second, we wish to expand the coverage to the individual businesses, just as I have mentioned. Now there are about 80 million, and now we have 13.9 million individual businesses who have already got access to the commercial lendings. So the coverage at the moment is 21.4%. That's why we wish to expand the coverage. And thirdly, we wish to reduce the cost of such lendings. Both the People's Bank of China and the relevant authorities have already made arrangements to provide these favorable lendings with lower interest rates to the individual businesses. Also, we request the commercial banks to streamline the procedure and make it easy and convenient for the individual businesses to get access to such lendings. At the moment, we have already applied the online platform to provide lendings to these individual businesses. And also, for these individual businesses, they enjoy the same favorable policies as the SMEs. They can be subject to the ad hoc and temporary preferential policies. They can also extend their loan repayment. We hope that the individual businesses can serve as a wonderful job opportunity for the general public. And we believe that they offer very good job opportunities.
Thank you. Last question is for the second journalist on the second row from the left side. With China Education Television, the SMEs usually suffer from the cash crunch. They have difficult access to favorable taxation policies. If the failure in accessing information led to the failure in tax payment, what are the remedy measures? DDG Han is taking the question. Thank you for your question. This is a great question. As the taxation credit policy improves, the coverage is expanding, and a good tax payment credit record has become an important component in the credit of the businesses. This will facilitate the financing convenience, as mentioned by Director Li, and also this good tax payment credit record can enhance the competitiveness of the businesses. That's why many taxpayers are paying increasing attention to their tax payment. But as a journalist has rightly pointed out, because of the financial constraints in the actual implementation of their obligations, they may neglect some of or miss some information, which may exert impact on their tax credit history. To deal with the issue, Taxation Administration has been exploring the policy of credit remedy. Starting from this year, we will start with the tax credit remedy policy. 19 categories of commonly seen slight misconducts, not out of the intention of the taxpayers. After correction has been made by the taxpayers can apply for the restoration of their credit record. For example, overdue and delayed reporting of relevant informations and overdue payment of taxes. With their corrections, and the taxpayers can apply for restoration of credit record. Thank you. I'd like to thank the two guest speakers for taking questions on the interactive banking and taxation favorable policies and using the taxation record to support financing. Tomorrow we will focus on the health information, popular science on COVID-19 response. With that, we conclude today's press conference. Thank you.